Hello friends, welcome to GK Sports India YouTube channel, and this is your favorite, the Kumbi Jiku show. We review the second and final test, India versus West Indies, which was comfortably won by India by 7 wickets, though the match went into the fifth day, and the series, as expected, went to India 2-0. To review the series, we have our expert K. Srinath, former player, now BCCI umpire. Welcome, Sri. Welcome to the Kumbi Jiku show. India expectedly won the series and also that second test match, though they didn't expect it to go into the fifth day. Very surprised that the test went into the fifth day.
Thanks, Jiku. Truly, result on expected lines. The series going India's favor 2-0. Certainly, nobody would have expected the game going into the fifth day of the second test. That showed the sort of resilience the West Indians batters put up in the second innings. You know, typically we discuss about side games being played, previously because of the cramped calendar. None of these West Indian teams get to play any side games. So maybe had West Indies got, a game or two before the start of the series, they might have been better equipped or acclimatized to the Indian conditions. Because before they could start off, they played on a red soil surface in Ahmedabad, wherein there was turn and bounce and they were rolled over, under 3.5 days. But they came back, to their surprise, they found a batting beauty in Delhi. And certainly in the second innings, the resilience they put up in their batting took the game into day 5. Well, certainly this showed glimpses of potential the West Indian team has. It's only a matter of self-belief, that can really help them regain their past glory.
But just going by their performance in the second innings, isn't it too early to say that it is going to be the revival of West Indies cricket, though many would want to see West Indies regain its glorious days, come back to its winning ways? But isn't it too early to say it's the revival of West Indies cricket?
I mean, it's about baby steps now. It's like, they have gone through a transition for a pretty long period. And they are just trying to rework their way through. And this certainly would give them a hell of a lot of confidence. As I said, it's about self-belief now. The players know well within themselves that they can get out of the West Indian shores and start doing well. Mind you, before coming into this test match series against India, they had a drubbing against the Aussies back home, being bowled out for the lowest ever test score of 27 in one of the test innings. So keeping that in mind and the way they turned around with poor 2 innings in Ahmedabad and, a really ordinary batting performance in the first innings, the sort of resilience they put up. I mean, the turnaround within a span of about a week's time showed, that this team has got potential. Yes, very early days to say that the turnaround is happening, but these are baby steps and certainly, this performance, second innings batting performance really augurs well for the future of West Indian cricket.
Having said that, the pitch, which was supposed to be low and slow, did not assist spinners that much as was expected. Did you feel along those lines, the Firozshah Kotla, which we at the start of the test said it is going to be assisting the spinners a lot, though we saw Kuldeep take 5 wickets and Jadeja 3 in the first innings. But then, or is it the West Indies who applied themselves, especially John Campbell and Shai Hope and their big partnership that did the job for them?
See, normally the Arun Jaitley Stadium is known to have, produced wickets which have crumbled. And especially, I remember, Anil Kumble wreaking havoc in one of the Irani Trophy games when he made a comeback into Test match cricket. And a 10-4 against Pakistan, which is etched in every Indian memory. And only the second the second cricketer in world cricket picked up 10 in an innings. Well, having said that, yes, the pitch didn't deteriorate to such an extent where it really played, havoc. But having said that, always this pitch is played low. And when it comes to the second innings on day 4 and 5, the spinners have to adapt to a different style of bowling. They need to be much more quicker in the air. The air speed as well as the ball needs to be that much quicker off the pitch, which somebody like a Jadeja or a Washington could do. Whereas somebody like Kuldeep had done the bulk of the bowling in the first innings, looked a bit tired. So yes, that was one of the reasons, but also, as you said, the resilience which West Indians showed in the second innings. It was application, play the old way of Test match cricket by grinding it out, play the balls on the merit, That's what did them in. I think, yes, not expected like the pitch would crumble, but nevertheless, it had enough for the spinners to, get the job done.
Yes, West Indies did show a lot of resilience in the second innings, but perhaps they took a leaf out of the last two batting pair of the first innings, who added 73 runs for just the 9th and 10th wicket combined. Anderson Phillip, Jaden Seals, and Carey Pierre. They frustrated the Indian bowlers. So perhaps that confidence the other batsmen took, and John Campbell, what an unlucky dismissal he had in the first innings, sweeping, full-flooded sweep, and the ball just latched onto the hands of Sai Sudarshan at short leg. But those apart, how good were the two West Indian centurions? John Campbell, his first Test century, and Shai Hope, his first 100 in 8 years, and only his third Test 100.
Well, it showed that it was just, mind over matter. It was all about application. Because the West Indies and all cricket followers had lost hope, and they thought that it was going to be done and dusted on day 3 or max going into day 4. But they had another script written, and they came to the ground with a different mindset. And mind you, to me, I thought day 3 pitch was the best to bat on, wherein the West Indians didn't capitalize on that. As you mentioned, the partnership for the 9th and 10th wicket, where the Indians were frustrated to close to about 20 odd overs. I think certainly that might have given the West Indian top order batters a lot of confidence. Though, they fell to a couple of poor shots in the second innings, that of Chanderpaul and as well as Athanas. But nevertheless, hope, his name says so. He gave a lot of hope along with Campbell, who made his first Test match 100. Under what circumstances? I mean, 8 years to get a Test 100, 50 odd Test matches, averaging 25. I mean, the dearth and talent of West Indian cricket is very visible. They persisted with the likes of Hope, Roston Chase, and now with Campbell. I think now they're on a good footing. As I said, it's all about self-belief. We can do it. What is the mantra for West Indian cricket? I think it was fantastic batting by both the batters. And I read somewhere saying that two West Indian batters getting 100 in the same innings has happened after many, many decades. That also was a revelation. Yes, overall, a good result, and it was a good advertisement for Test match cricket from the point of view of West Indies.
We're surprised that India declared, though the lead was a healthy 270 runs, rather not declared, enforced follow-on on the West Indies, 270 runs ahead. We are surprised, or you thought India would bat a little bit and then defend the target?
Actually, there was a lot of debate on this, and even, I also had an inkling saying that, India could have had another hit and maybe, just rework the batting order, given somebody like Nitish Reddy a hit in the middle. Maybe got to about 200 in quick time and put the West Indies in again. But having said that, both Bumrah and Siraj had not done much of bowling in the first innings. Keeping that in mind, and maybe, they thought the wicket would break down that much quicker and the faster bowlers would come into picture. And always, like a bowler like Kuldeep in rhythm, no better sight in world cricket. But he had bowled 26 overs on the trot. And the confidence Shubman Gill had in him gave him the, a second new ball straight away in the first innings. So I thought once the wickets didn't fall and the West Indians applied themselves better, maybe Indians would have thought in hindsight, maybe they could have batted. But we can dissect this once the game is done and dusted. I also thought maybe, the pitch holding still good. India could have maybe batted for about 35-40 overs and put West Indies in on day 4, wherein the wicket started behaving a bit differently. Indians would have had the upper hand because the bowlers would have been that much fresher.
Yeah, it was nice to see Shubman Gill, new captain, second series, enforce follow-on, but this teams rarely enforce follow-on nowadays, isn't it? Especially after that, what happened to Australia against India in Kolkata 2001. People, in fact, even stopped enforcing follow-on, even if they had a healthy lead of 250, 300, 400 runs, still batted a bit and then ensured that they did not lose like how Australia lost to India in 2001. Having said that, Yashasvi Jaiswal, a big 100, missed out on what could have been a double or even a triple 100 if he batted on, but a fantastic 100 from Shubman Gill. Sai Sudarshan missing out by just 13 runs, what could have been his maiden 100. India had their batting coming good and not surprising at all, wasn't it?
True, I think more to do. This was, a test for Sai Sudarshan. Everybody knew what sort of potential he had and the ability to make big runs. Yeah, unfortunately, he missed out on 100 in the first innings and also made a good 30 odd in the second innings. Yes, in terms of batting, it was expected for the Indian top order to make big runs. And happy for KL Rahul, who got 100 in the first test match. Jadeja getting 100. Now signing off the series, Jaiswal with the Big Daddy 100, Gill and Sai Sudarshan. So overall, per se in terms of batting, forgot to mention Dhruv Jurel's maiden 100 in Ahmedabad. India would be pretty happy with their batting scorecard, saying that most of the batters really came good in the series. So overall, I feel the scorecard for the batting lineup would be pretty happy. The coach, the captain would certainly be impressed with the way the batters perform, which obviously was expected against a mediocre West Indian attack. And yes, certainly a lot of takeaways per se in terms of batting. Maybe Sai Sudarshan might be a bit disappointed because he couldn't get to the coveted three-figure mark. But overall, as a batting unit in the two test matches, the maybe 2.5 innings which India played, certainly all their batters lived up to the expectations and certainly came good.
Equally disappointed would be Sai Sudarshan in the second innings, missing out on what could have been a second 50 in the test match. But then Yashasvi Jaiswal batting so well, known to make big hundreds, already two double hundreds in his 2 years of test career. But what did you think he made when he called for a run, not replied by Shubman Gill, and he was run out when he was going good and should have got his double hundred, if not 250 or 300. What did you think of that? I thought it was an act of madness from Yashasvi Jaiswal early in this day's play. Test cricket, it was not as if India needed 1 run to win off the last ball of the test match. I thought it was madness. He missed out on a double hundred or a triple hundred. But your thoughts, and maybe if you were in such similar situations or if you have seen your teammates in similar situations, what did you think of that?
It was total chaos, and Jaiswal had no business. Number one is he's a serial offender. He has got run out in T20 cricket. Fast outfield. You tap the ball in the gap, boundaries for taking. Number two is what is the situation? 10th ball of day 2. What are you looking at? You are looking at piling the agony on the West Indian bowlers. Number 3 is what is the situation of the game? You're playing against a, inadept bowling attack, runs are there for will. And what is the necessity for you to smash the ball straight to the hand and start running in? I mean, the golden rule is when the ball is played to mid-on or mid-off, we always say it's the striker's call. But here, there was no necessity at all. Before a split second, when Shubman Gill could turn around, Jaiswal was there at handshake distance. To me, it was, a real harakiri committed. And then there's no point in, just giving a mouthful and being dejected. The game awareness is what is the most important thing in this scenario. I think totally Jaiswal lacked that. I don't know what the hurry was. As you mentioned, it was not the last ball wherein he had to get a single to win the game, or was it the last session of the test match in a mandatory over where he had to rush to that? I felt it was total madness and unnecessary. I think this is one area of his game wherein Jaiswal certainly has to get better. He and even Jadeja, for that matter, even Virat Kohli, we've seen do that. The ball is played off the bat, they just take off 4-5 paces. And if the non-striker is not, alert, they're caught off guard. And also you need to be, in the game wherein you need to understand your partner also. How good is he in judging a single? How fast is he? It's just not about one guy being fast to try to take on and finish the run. It also is about your partner. So I thought it was unnecessary and totally chaotic from the side of SSV Jaiswal.
But Shubman Gill, as test captaining in India for the first series, and captaincy and batting, he just thinks them takes them differently, isn't it? Doesn't let the captaincy affect his batting. Batted brilliantly, scoring those big hundreds, 400s in England, and continued in New Delhi. Shubman Gill, captain and batting, your assessment?
I think batting, he is the future of not only Indian cricket, world cricket. It's all class and there's exuberance. There is a calmness which he brings to the table, no doubt about it. Not really tested in this series because that wasn't the sort of attack which would put somebody like Gill under pressure. But coming to captaincy, he had it all easy in the first test match in Ahmedabad. But when India decided to enforce the on day 3 somewhere, I thought, he went into a shell. Because India decided to enforce the because they had West Indies on the mat. The setting of the field, it had to be inside outfield. They had to have fielders in front of the batter's eyes. At one point in time, towards the end of day 3, there was only one slip fielder available as a catcher. I think that's where when he just went off radar, and surprising somebody like a KL Rahul or a Jadeja who played so much of cricket around were not there able to give any sort of advice to Shubman Gill. That was one particular session or session and a half where I thought Gill was a bit lost. But certainly after day 3, they certainly pulled themselves up. The way they came back on day 4 and ensured they had their best plan forward and had to execute it. Otherwise, yes, overall, as a batter and as a captain, I think he had a fantastic series.
Yes, and even when they had that big partnership, Campbell and Hope, in the second innings, it was Kuldeep Yadav and Jasprit Bumrah who brought India back into the game, picking up a couple of wickets each. But before the final wicket, which was 75 runs worth between the two Jays, Jayden Seals and Justin Greaves. What are the areas India can improve upon? Like you just mentioned about Shubman Gill going off radar and when the partnership was building on, and Yashasvi Jaiswal and his running. Areas for India to improve upon, because in West Indies were quite beatable, but it's not going to be easy against South Africa when they play in the next home series exactly a month away, 14th of November, first of 2 tests against South Africa. India, what are the areas to work upon?
Well, I think it's about the intensity they need to maintain. I thought, somewhere in the test match, second test match at Delhi, especially in the second innings when they enforced the follow-on, that they were a bit flat. Maybe, the opposition didn't bring that sort of intensity in them. Having said that, when they played England, their body language, their intensity, that was very much visible, which certainly the Indians would look to work around. And, 7 test matches as captain, including this series, Shubman Gill, certainly he's had his days under the sun, and it's a learning curve. It's not that somebody who's captained a test side for 50 test matches is always right on the money. So it's just one of things wherein he just let it slip and he had to get back on road. Well, yes, to play more intense cricket and to get your field placements right, and also in the second innings not to bowl Bumrah till the 33rd over. So why do you pick Bumrah in the side? You pick Bumrah in the side, and especially against left-handers, he's a high-quality bowler. Keeping him away from the attack for 33 overs, I thought somewhere it didn't go down well. So these are certain areas certainly they would ponder on. Obviously, the inputs would be coming in. As you mentioned, we can see a slightly more aggressive Indian unit when they take on South Africa in the coming month.
And West Indies did make India back for the second time, though when many expected it would be an innings victory again. But then the lead was thankfully only 120. Did the memories of that famous or infamous Bridgetown Test match 2.5 decades ago come back to mind, Sri? Though it was an entirely different bowling unit of the West Indies, not the fearsome foursome of the past.
Totally, not even the wildest of my dreams. so it was a thing that was destined to happen. It was only a matter of time on day 5 when it was going to come to an end. Certainly, those demons would never ever have crossed the mind of these current crop of cricketers. No, not with the current West Indian attack. In fact, they themselves would have been waiting, for the game to get over, because they knew they certainly didn't have a chance to roll over this Indian side under 123.
When they had about 1 hour's play on day 4, and Yashasvi Jaiswal was playing the way that he was going to finish off the match on the same evening, did you think that was the right approach, or Yashasvi Jaiswal lost it out, going for big hits, giving a catch in the deep, and anyway, the match went into the 5th day? You think that approach is the right approach, to finish off the day and take the extended half an hour if the target was well within reach at the scheduled close of play?
I think obviously they would have had a discussion and plan in place, and in fact, Jaiswal is the one who can take the bowling head on. And yes, it didn't come off fair enough. I mean, you can't point a finger and say whether it was the right or wrong thing to do. But he tried, his best, and he got out. Nevertheless, it's not something to really brood over. obviously there would have been a game plan which India went in with, and not trying to finish it off on day 4. Had it gone Jaiswal's way, you never know. India would have pressed for the half an hour extra time and finished the game on day 4, but which didn't happen. But nothing to lose sleep over, because we all know the sort of ability and quality Jaiswal has. So nothing really to look at that deeply in terms of the dismissal of Jaiswal in the second innings.
And looking ahead, the 2 test series, like I mentioned, against South Africa, and India before that has this crucial assignment tour of Australia for 3 ODIs and 5 T20s. Some of them travel tomorrow to Australia. The others maybe play some Ranji Trophy matches before taking on the South Africans. Your thoughts on the next 1 month ahead?
I think it's a welcome break for most of these, early test format players. And as you mentioned, some of them will be busy in Australia playing the ODIs and some the T20s. Well, the recently concluded India A and Australia A series proved real good practice for many of these players who got to play there, including the likes of KL Rahul, Sai Sudarshan, Devdutt Padikkal. And this current, committee has enforced from Rahul Dravid's tenure, saying that whenever available, the contracted players need to play domestic cricket. So I believe domestic cricket is kicking off from the 15th of October. The first round happens on that day. Past that, there's a break for Diwali. Then the third round of Ranji Trophy game starts on the 1st of November, which ends on 4th. I believe most of these hopefuls and people who would be a part of the test match squad would certainly be available to play the game. So that certainly would be a good practice before, rubbing it off against South Africa. And also there's a series against the South African team that's going to happen parallelly when the test series happens, which would also, provide a lot of good practice facility for many of these hopefuls.
And South Africa perhaps would get a taste of the subcontinent turning tracks, having already started a series in Pakistan. So that's something that they're also gearing up and getting ready to face the spinners of India 1 month later. So on that note, thank you very much, Sri. Some excellent thoughts on the test series gone by and the test series that is coming up. Have a nice day. Take care and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Zico. Bye.